Welcome back to Evil here at Pop Culture Reacts. As we are going through Halloween week, and so far we've had zombies, we've had killers, and a song about being dead.
Vampires. I would put that down to.
But now it is time for our hairier companions, the werewolf,
What
brought
do
to
we?
us
Oh, sorry.
by Birmingham's finest exports, Ozzy Osbourne.
Trying to think of other famous Brummies that I know of. Jasper Carrot. He was Brummie, wasn't he?
He was, yes.
I feel like I've let my English knowledge down. I feel like there's a lot more famous Brummies, but I
So
am struggling to
obviously
think of
we
them.
have we have Judas Priest and we have Black Sabbath.
Yes. I mean, it's not a plethora of famous people for what is one of the largest cities in the country.
Lenny Henry,
Oh, he's awful though, isn't he?
he is.
Yeah, awful back then and awful now. Yeah, I don't. So you're probably right. Probably is Birmingham's best export or most famous one, except for PS. One of me busy mates, Marcus. If you watch this, obviously you're one of the best things out of Birmingham.
So yes, werewolves.
How do we feel about werewolves? I don't think we've ever discussed werewolves. I think we've generally, when we talked about stuff not on the show necessarily outside of here, yeah, we talked about vampires, the serial killers, the evil clowns, the ghosts, the ghouls. I don't think we've ever discussed werewolves.
We haven't. One of my earliest memories of a horror film was flicking on BBC Two and seeing American Werewolf in London,
Oh, it's a banger, isn't it? It's a
and
quality
that
movie.
transformation scene. Going, yeah, no, because I think I was about 5 or 6 at the time, and
that
not what I
that
should be seeing.
that film, I know potentially should have put me off of turning into a werewolf, but more so put me off of going into long country walks and going into local pubs more than necessarily the werewolf part of it. It had me there. I thought, well, if I just stay at home, none of this can happen, and I can't have that awkward moment in a pub. Yeah, I would say of the big horror characters or the big horror sorts of character, it's one of the ones that resonates with me the least. But I think it's one of the ones that has the least of standout products. So like vampires,
Hmm.
zombies, etc., have had a plethora of really good stuff. Werewolves, I'm kind of struggling outside of American Werewolf in London to think of werewolf stuff that I really, really liked.
Werewolf at Midnight from last year. That was good.
I haven't seen it. We'll
It
have
was
to.
the Disney Marvel special from last
Oh,
Halloween.
Werewolf. No, oh yeah, yeah. So I didn't. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I didn't think of that.
That was good.
But yeah, a bit
Wolf
thin
Boy,
though, isn't it?
Teen Wolf,
Nope, not Teen Wolf.
running out of werewolf things.
As an aside, and we will get to the music, I promise. I watched Teen Wolf again about a year and a half, 2 years ago, and it had been probably since the era that it come out. Never go back and watch Teen Wolf. Oh,
I can't imagine it holds up.
it is a rough watch. It doesn't hold up, and the humour in it is stuff that shouldn't be played to a modern audience and probably shouldn't have been played to an audience back then. It is very problematic, as the terminology is here, but it is very problematic. It's pretty gross, to be fair.
Yeah, it's not one on my high list to ever go back to anyway.
But I mean, the rumor is, and I've never bothered to pause it, that someone got their cock out at the end of the movie. So I think it will probably still have a bit of legendary status in movie lore for forever and a day because of that. But anyway, we're not here to talk werewolves. We're not here to talk movies. We're not here to talk about Birmingham. We're here to talk about Bark at the Moon, aren't we? So shall
Yes,
we crack on, have a listen, and see whether this is that werewolf product that pushes it over the edge for us?
yes.
Right, let's do this. One hell of a still at the end, isn't it? Just going like, oh my god, it's coming up the screen at me.
Ah!
Ozzy's gonna pounce on me. What do you think of the song? One that you have a particular affinity with, or
I love 80s Aussie. It, there's just like a fun to it that I find with all of his stuff. You know, this Crazy Train, Mr. Crowley, stuff like that. He's just it just seemed like Ozzy was having fun in the 80s. Yes, he was snorting ants and all of Colombia's finest,
and probably actually barking at the moon.
yeah, and drinking anything, everything, and in bars worth at a time. But yeah, no, it's just a fun to Ozzy at this point. You know, obviously we've come out of Sabbath, we've come out of what are really a serious band. Sabbath are very serious. There's a few songs where there's a little bit of British tongue in cheek to bits, but Ozzy being in America doing all this seemed to make him more English and be camp
Yeah.
and silly
Well,
and
you look at the video, and I think I think the video goes great with the song, doesn't it? I
yeah.
think it matches up really well, and you say fun. I mean, it looks like to a large part. I'm not sure what came first in his head. The idea of doing a song called "Bark at the Moon," or wouldn't it be cool if we could do a video where we lean into like Hammer House horror stuff, but with a kind of almost carry on vibe to it at the same time. And yeah, it really does come across, doesn't it? Like it almost feels, as I say, like it's by design to go, come on, lads, this will be a great laugh, won't it? Let's do this.
Yeah. And yeah, obviously this is the first album after Randy Rose died, so it's Jake E. Lee on the doing the guitar stuff on it. The guitar solo is fucking stunning in this, and like just even the main riff is just so good, and it
It was one
is
of the highlights for me, that
yeah.
guitar solo, and I think it is really good. I will say I felt like the song needed it when it come as well.
Mm.
Not nothing sort of no like it's bad, but I think it's an era that I don't have a lot of love for revisiting now. I think it very much sounds of its time because it was done in a time, duh.
Yeah.
But some stuff sounds quite ageless, whereas I think some of this stuff doesn't sound ageless, and um, partially one of the things that I would put as a criticism to the song is it's very long, and I don't think it needs to be as long as it would. I think a tighter, sort of shorter, smaller bundle would make it a lot more enjoyable. But as I say, that solo somewhat rescues that length for me of going,
Mm.
okay, that solo breaks up and that solo is fantastic.
Ozzy needs his time to go off stage to get his next bump.
Yeah. And like the music is more of a highlight to me than Ozzy singing on this one. I think the music would be what I would consider the star of the show, if not for the video. The video is probably the star of the show.
Yes.
Is there and I know by the way I want it clear. I know werewolves aren't real, but is there anything in the werewolf mythology? Because I've never known it of you become a werewolf by drinking what looks like a flask of your own urine.
I don't know. I think maybe Ozzy got a little bit confused with the Jekyll and Hyde
Yeah, that's what it felt like to
bit
me.
here, as
And
well
I have
as
I had no intention, by the way, of drinking a flask of my own urine, but even less so now if I know it turns you into a werewolf.
exactly. But I think I think that's a case of they got a little bit confused on how it works. But it's Ozzy. He's probably, as we've already mentioned, off his tree at the time and going,
They
yeah, that
probably
sounds like a
hadn't
great idea.
they probably hadn't shown him the werewolf costume at that point, so he thought he was doing a different performance, a different song. Yeah, I would say like for me, like I wouldn't go mad about it, but it's something that I think if I was at a Halloween party and it come on, I think it'd be very fitting. But I probably wouldn't seek it out to listen to at any other point, if that makes sense.
Yes. Uh, so you lot out there, let us know down there
Any
in the
good werewolf
comments.
movies? Let us know about
Yes.
them as well.
Um, Also, other Aussie stuff, because we've not really touched on Sabbath and Aussie on the channel as a whole. Only
No.
the one in the Filthy 15. So yeah, Sabbath
Yeah,
and
that was the only
Aussie
time,
stuff.
wasn't it?
Yeah,
Filthy 15. Well, only time for Sabbath was Filthy 15. And like we will play in as much as I say some of that era I don't have a massive affinity with or I love to go back to, but also I do want to go back because sometimes I said about Teen Wolf earlier. Sometimes the exercise of going back and going that wasn't what I remembered it being, but on the other
yes,
side going oh this is held up really well. So you get a decent reaction either way, hopefully.
exactly. As always, YouTube things, like, subscribe, and ring bells. Don't drink your own urine. Definitely don't drink Aussies, because
Unless you really need to, and when I say you really need to, I think there are certain circumstances where you can stay alive without water for that bit longer if you ingest a certain amount of urine. I wish I had the fact to hand. I was listening to a podcast the other day. It was talking about someone who did survive for a very long time on his own urine, but only under those very rare circumstances. But never Aussies. Never Aussies.
No, never. And until next time, remember, don't bark at the moon because you might
Don't
end
go to
up
pubs. Don't go to pubs in weird places.
exactly because you might end up having some weird exoskeleton breaking transformation into a werewolf.
It's a hairy son bitch.
Sweet dreams.